Welcome to our next Get a Life moment with myself, Lisa Davies, and today I'm joined by a good friend of mine, executive leadership coach, Nicola Ellwood. Welcome, Nicola.
Hello, thank you. Thanks for having me.
It's welcome. It's nice to have a chat on this sunny day. It's a very sunny day. So obviously I know a little bit about you. We've even worked together on occasions, but for the audience, who is Nicola Ellwood? Tell us a little bit about yourself.
So I am a person who is in service to others. It's kind of how I would term it. I mean, to go down the work road, I'm a coach. I'm very proud of the coach that I am. And someone the other day described me as a career coach.
Right.
And I found that really interesting. I said, "What do you mean by a career coach?" He goes, "Well, you've obviously been doing this your whole life.
Okay.
You've obviously done this your whole career. You're not one of these people who, I don't know, perhaps was, I don't know, a finance director, had a bit of coaching, discovered coaching, went to do it and went into it that way, because many people have it as a second career."
Yeah.
And it is, it's accurate description. I've just love people, always have.
Yeah.
Always been fascinated with them. I'm non-work. I'm Nicola. I'm light. I'm sunny. I'm easy going. Married. Love my husband dearly. I've got a dog. I'm a southerner. You can tell by my accent.
But you don't live down south anymore, though, do you?
I'm a southerner living up north. Well, this is north to me anyway. I'm originally from a little village called Dedham, in between Colchester and Ipswich. So Constable country, for those of you who know that part of the world. So so I live in Lincoln because I moved here 16 years ago, I think. My husband was in the forces, so I moved here and stayed here. So it's kind of got our teeth into us a little bit. We live very close to a very beautiful part of Lincoln, so it's nice. Yeah,
beautiful. So it's interesting that person should say that you're a career coach, as it's kind of part of you, part of who you are. Like it's just what you do. But how did you find yourself becoming a coach? Where did that journey start?
I have one point where it starts, but I think it goes back a little bit further than that, maybe, in terms of where my fascination with people started. I was always a confident child. I was brought up with sort of values of, as long as you're happy and enjoying life, that's all good with me, is what my mum used to say.
Yeah.
And just be happy, and if you want to travel the world, do what you want to do, just do it. And also kind of like, I was just brought up with really respectful values around people, and I was brought up to say hello to people when you see them in the street and stuff like that. So I was always confident, but I was quite middle of the road school. I was a solid C grade student, if you know what I mean.
Okay.
I was never gonna like make any headlines with my education, and I think I rubbed a few of my, I don't know, school colleagues up the wrong way in that way, because I was quite confident. I was never in the popular group, but there were a few people who kind of picked on me a bit, and I never really understood why. Never really got it. I never really got what that was about. But I've got the best friends, and I've had them since school. But I think that always started my kind of like, why are people just, why are people the way they are?
Why don't people just bumble along together nicely?
Yeah. And I kind of got that. And why can't people be happy, I guess, which is my upbringing. So I never knew what I wanted to do. I was a younger sister of a brother, and I followed him. I loved my brother. I followed him. Went to same university he did. Never knew what I wanted to do. Ended up doing an English literature degree, ridiculously. Hated every second of it, really, if I'm honest. But my first job out of that, because I was really skint, so I lived in Cambridge. I went to Anglia Poly, not Cambridge Uni. I got a job as a double glazing sales rep, because I was really
This I didn't know.
Like that. Yeah, I got double glazing sales rep, and I remember literally within the first 2 weeks I was selling a lot of double glazing, and I was the person who was around people's houses until late at night. So I wasn't the person on the phone, I wasn't the person who opened the doors, I was the person they sent round to actually close the deal, shall we say. And so 20-year-old Nicola walking with this window.
I've got a picture in my mind.
I know. But I remember sitting in this one person's house, and it was a very big posh house in Cambridge, as many of them are. And I quoted a lot of money to redo all the windows, all the doors. And we've been chatting and just really got on, him and his wife. And I just really had a lovely time with them. And I gave them the first price, which was quite a high commission rate to me. And he looked at me and he went, "Yeah, all right." And I didn't let myself. The commission was so high, and it was like 60% commission, really high. And I just went, "Really?" And he was like, "Yeah, because," and you all know why. It's because of you. It's because you've just been so lovely to talk to. And so we've bought you. Not, the windows are obviously speak for themselves, but we bought you. And I found myself thinking, no. So within sort of month 2, I was top in East Anglia, and I was selling above everyone in East Anglia. And I found myself thinking, why is this the case? Why doesn't everyone have the ability to build rapport with people and just be genuinely interested in people and have nice conversation with people? And so that took me on a journey of sales. I sold windows, fine wine, which was an interesting
nice.
Fine wine. Yeah. Became an alcoholic for a few months. And then went into newspapers, sold newspapers.
Right, okay.
For the Nationals. And then I went into sales training and moved up here, got headhunted into an organisation that ran. Have you heard of Dale Carnegie?
Yes.
So they ran. Of course you have, Lisa. Sorry. Other people.
Yeah, but the audience might not have.
So they ran Dale Carnegie programs.
Okay.
That was what they did. So for Norfolk and Suffolk and Lincolnshire, I was out delivering leadership programs with the Dale Carnegie branded, and they trained me to be a trainer.
Right. Okay.
At that point, I discovered the potential of people when they're thriving, and the sort of the key attributes that they needed to display, think, feel to thrive. And I resonated with that because it was just me. I remember the first time I read the book, I was like, flipping out, this is me. This is just like what I do. And it's like, I'm starting to toot my own horn there. I'm not, but it just resonated so much. And then for some reason, I got made redundant from the consultancy that ran the programs, and I went in-house and ended up being sort of like a communication skills trainer.
Right.
Loved it. And within that, I managed a coaching team.
Okay.
And I kind of discovered the power of one-to-one, the power of that sort of like Dale Carnegie mindset, skill set in a one-to-one domain. And I discovered that coaching is a very misunderstood industry.
Oh, absolutely.
And I thought, you know what, I flipping love this, and if I'm gonna do it, I'm gonna do it. And that coincided with my older brother died of non-Hodgkin's lymphoma. He actually died of pneumonia, but quite a way through his treatment of non-Hodgkin's. And he just had a little baby girl, my niece now, and it just did a real kind of life moment, like, what am I doing? Let's if you tune into what you love, notice, just to pay attention for a moment, and
so do you think that was kind of a catalyst for you for going for it?
Yeah, 100%. I got married a couple of years before. Was it a couple of years before? No, I hadn't. No, I got married after that. Sorry, here's my track, my dates. No, I got married not long after he died as well. So I think my husband was kind of like, right, life's short, let's crack on.
Yeah, absolutely. But it is those defining moments, isn't it, that really make you sit up and think, what's important in my life.
I mean, he was only 34, so
very young.
So, and you know, with a baby girl, like literally he only found out because he had to have 2 weeks paternity leave and went to the doctors, you know.
Right.
So that really gave me clarity and started to just open my more spiritual side, really, and just really tune into kind of my purpose and what I'm doing when I'm thriving.
And so just picking up on that, that whole experience opened you up to the more spiritual side, because up until then your career sounds to have been almost very corporate, very structured corporate development. So you have this life-changing moment with losing your older brother. So how did that take you down that track of tapping into that spiritual side of yourself?
Well, 2 ways really. One was kind of myself tuning into myself. 2 was myself tuning into things outside of me. So the first thing is around me really tuning into what I'm doing and who I am when I am happy, you know, and just seeing other people light up, that kind of sense of other, you know. I start by saying, you know, I'm a person in service, you know, when I'm seeing other people thrive, that is literally the best for me. So there's that. And then I remember the employer that I was with at the time Andrew died, they offered Reiki. They were very forward thinking in their employee engagement, and they offered Reiki as an employee benefit.
Right.
So this woman used to come in to this very corporate kind of insurance world and do Reiki, and I just remember her starting to just talk about kind of the more sort of spiritual side of me, really, and ask me questions about things like that. How would she know? And I remember to this day, in my mind's eye, while she was doing this Reiki, seeing in my mind's eye 2 men walk into the room, and she said, and she didn't, I hadn't told her that. She just goes, 2 men have just walked into the room. And I said, I know, I can see them. And she goes, and one of them saying that he's your brother.
Right.
And I was like, okay, yeah. And so that was interesting. And so I've kind of, I was brought up very black and white, not Christian or anything. I was brought up respecting religion, but not particularly following it myself, but being quite black and white, closed, no life after death. But now my beliefs are completely opposite to that, and I often, knowing that my brother is kind of with me, and all the other members of my family are with me, that's quite nice. And when I'm doing what I'm supposed to be doing professionally, it's all the stronger.
So how have you developed that? How have you integrated that into your way of being and into your work life?
Work in progress. It was a battle, because there's a hard wire there that tells me that stuff like this doesn't exist, and coming from a very corporate world, it's like, how does that fit in? But goodness me, it's when I am doing my best work with my clients, it is a spiritual experience. Not like I'm tuning into everyone, but it's fascinating because they start to go there. They start to go there themselves. They start to open up through no well, obviously it is my influence, but no intentional influence. We're just on the same page, and I Just trying to think of some of the clients that I've worked with. You know, so like men and women. Oh, that's it. One client I recently worked with, who's a ex-military chap, just automatically started talking about his spiritual side. He said, "I don't know why, but I can share this with you, and I can share this part of me that I hold locked down within me in my role."
It's really interesting because I'm part of a Facebook group actually that is a mix of men and women, and some of those chaps are ex-service people, and you know, they say that when they were in that career, you couldn't talk about those beliefs, and yet now they're finding spaces where they can talk about the wholeness of being, the wholeness of life.
Massive. It is that wholeness, and you know, when I getting quite sort of going back to my more logical brain, I never forget the time where I put the two worlds together. Was when I discovered. So I've done within my training. I've got the masters in coaching. I've kind of gone off on a bit of a divergent tangent. Sorry. I did a masters in coaching because I wanted to get to the bottom of what coaching was. And be a proper coach, be a credible coach. That's what I wanted. Within that was NLP. Then I went on to do an NLP practitioner. I did 2 master practitioners and done a certified trainer of NLP. And it wasn't until I did the certified trainer aspect that I learned a whole new sort of extra realm of stuff, really. And I'd also done a Reiki practitioner. And it wasn't until I learned this process in NLP that was basically Reiki. It was just Reiki, and once I tried it, once I started working with my clients with it, the shift in my clients of moving energy around and moving color around, and you know what I'm talking about. I know. And it's just wonderful, but you know, it taught me how to take care of myself. I remember one client shifting a load of energy off her onto me. So, yeah. It's
you feel that you're talking about your client shifting stuff and it being so powerful that now that you bring the two worlds together, and they were always just one anyway, but now that you are more consciously aware of, you know, just becoming whole as a practitioner, do you feel that you are drawing different clients towards you, or the way that clients interact with you is different?
I'd say I've always drawn clients who have the potential to do deep significant change through working more spiritually. I'd say what's happened more lately is because I'm more comfortable with it, it just happens.
So what was it? Because I mean, I'm sure there'll be other people out there that have come very much from the corporate world or still very much in it. Leaders out there. I mean, I know we both worked with leaders together, and we start to see, you know, when we talk about our hippie shit, as I label it.
Tree hugging.
Tree hugging. It's that stuff that they will say has really moved them. When they tap into their inner wisdom, that's the stuff that really moves them and shifts them. But what for anybody listening, what is it that you became comfortable with? What shifted in you that allowed you to say, I can bring the whole of this to my work?
It comes back to that hardwire program of almost like the values thing about being other-centered, about caring about people. There's kind of 2 parts to it, really. There's me being almost comfortable and overcoming the black whiteness of my old mindset. So there's that, but then it's the bigger thing is the impact and the shift and the change and the transition and the fast movement that I enable with people to feel good, think well, whatever it is that their outcome is. If I just go to that more energetic, emotional space, spiritual space, I have better outcomes. It's just, it's like by me being absolutely true to me, I know that I'm having the best possible outcomes.
Yeah, that's
with
fantastic.
them, for their good.
Yeah. So what's next then? What's next?
It's starting to. So I've been I have a bee in my bonnet. I have a bee in my bonnet, and I've had it in my bonnet for a while, and it's starting to kind of. I guess what's happening now with all of this context is really holding it front and center.
Yeah.
So it's that. Why can't other people? Why don't other people? Why, you know, it's that thought process again. You know, hearing myself say this is quite interesting. Because it's the same pattern. Why can't other people have rapport, have empathy, have the communication skills to help other people? So my kind of key work is coaching people. I love coaching at a really senior executive level, because if they're showing up as their whole self, thriving, then the organization's going to thrive. So there's that.
Absolutely.
But then it's enabling the culture to shift as well, through working with the line manager, the people who support people.
Yes.
And now is the time for it. Now it is needed more than
ever before.
More than ever. I mean, I spent a sort of little gap in what I was telling you. I spent 5 years working for an employee engagement agency, and I used to go in and train coaching skills to managers there. So it's great, absolutely great. And what I've noticed is there's certain industries where that approach, that employee engagement approach, that empathetic, that rapport, other-centered approach to management and leadership is severely not there.
Yeah.
So I want to help. I want to help managers have the skill set to be able to help people and feel comfortable. I'm doing a lot in sport. Sport is an area where you can learn to be a coach and not learn how to have a conversation with a person. So, so I want to really help those coaches coach well.
More than technique. Coach more than technique.
Yeah, goodness me, yeah, absolutely. Yeah, for me, coaching is a conversation, a productive, change-bringing conversation. So
brilliant. Yeah. Do you know, it's been absolutely fascinating chatting with you. As I ask all of my guests before we finish today, what would be your top life tip, your get a life moment tip that you could share with the audience? What's your top tip?
It is, I guess it's set your GPS right. And what I mean by that is set it for the version of you that's happy, for the version of you that thrives, for the version of you that is your best. You know, I always use the strap line, you know, be your best. And what does that actually mean when you are thriving? And I'm sure that all of the people watching this today can think of a time where they have been thriving. And what was that? You know, how did it feel? What did they do to get it?
Yeah.
How do they behave when they are it? How do they communicate? What's the sensation? So that feeling of being thriving, what is that?
So embodying that thriving.
Completely, yeah. So how does it feel? What's the sensation? You know, where do you get the buzz? Where is it within you? What color is it? You know, and hold that absolutely front and center in your life.
Yeah.
Because our brain, unfortunately, turns our attention to a version of ourselves that isn't as productive, that isn't as private. And that's not useful. You know, we create what we pay attention to. So it's really paying attention to the very best version of you, and knowing how you did it, knowing the structure of it, the structure of your excellence, and moving towards that. So yeah, set your GPS for that, and only that, and do it.
Thank you so much. A brilliant tip, brilliant tip. It's been my absolute pleasure chatting with you today, Nicola. Thank you so much for being my guest.
My pleasure too.